From the very beginning of this this project 2 weeks ago, you've been out in front on this, whether it was with the interview with Anderson Cooper that we saw, taking a phone call from the President of the United States, various things like that. But there's also this connection with the Opry.
Yeah.
That's Brad Paisley and the Opry. And I just wondered if you can give us a little background on all of that, just how that connection is.
I don't know. I mean, that to me was the Opry is what brought me here, because of the fact that it really gave birth to the form of country music that we all know and love, and I grew up very aware of that and wanting to be a part of it. And then I adopted it when I got here, and it adopted me. And ironically, I remember at the ACM somebody asked me where I feel most at home. Was it you? I'm trying to remember who it was, but where I feel most at home in Nashville, other than at home, and that's the Opry stage. You know, it's really true. And so throughout this devastation, it was really on my mind as far as what was happening. As far as with my instruments, I just kept getting reports of, yeah, you probably lost everything that you had on the road. And then there's the farm we've got, which has some issues, but you know, we're fixing them. But no one was hurt or anything. But you know, so I'm running around patching up leaks, and then hearing about going and touring some of the areas that were hit and all that. And that it really was the last thing I was aware of, and never crossed my mind about the Opry House and all that out there and out at the Gaylord area. And it's like, when I heard that, it was just one more thing that was just absolutely too much. And I got to go in there this week and see it, and you know, it's absolutely unbelievable. The thing's brown. The entire inside is brown. The black pipes at the top of the ceiling are brown from dust, from the mud that was washed in there and on the stage. And the stage is gone. It's all concrete. They tore it all up. They took the circle out first, which is great. They said that'll be fine, but it's being, you know, restored, because I've seen what just a leaking washer does to hardwood firsthand, you know. And anyway, so it is really the heart of this town in some ways, and it's the most famous export, really, as far as the music that it's born, you know, had a hand in birthing, and as well as the fact that it's the most famous venue for it. And it's a metaphor somehow. But I wrote an article for Billboard this week, and in it I said that this isn't, you know, one thing I see here is an opportunity, really the opportunity of a lifetime for the Opry, which is 85 years old. It's his anniversary year. It just got devastated by a flood, and yet there are high hopes and looks to be the potential to get it back on track before all of the celebrations that we're planned for October, if that can be the case. We have all of a sudden something that maybe we took for granted a little bit prior to this, and maybe never will again. So that's an opportunity, and that's the silver lining I'm seeing, maybe.
What did you see, or what did you think of the lack of national attention that initially it wasn't there, and what something like this can do to continue to build interest in what's going on here?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, I get it. I understand why maybe they didn't understand what was happening here. Places flood all the time. I come from Ohio Valley, and there were probably 8 for me growing up where that river got way beyond its banks, and that happens more frequently somehow up there, but not to this degree. It's also, you know, 1,200 people in my hometown. It's like it's not the level of loss in the sense that they just aren't. And we've learned as frequently as that floods not to build certain places, and so, you know, in the defense of the media a little bit, they're thinking, well, yeah, Nashville got hit by floods. That's terrible. They didn't realize that in the process it lost. I mean, it was one of the worst kinds of floods you can have, in the sense that areas that never should have seen water did, as well as we had, over the course of the last century, built some of our most cherished both institutions and storage facilities for those institutions in the floodplain, you know, without knowing it, because we'd never seen in recorded history this happen. So that's really It's an amazing thing, and it wasn't, I think, until, and it's ironic, it's back to the Opry. It's like when you start to realize the Opry was underwater, as well as the Opryland Hotel, as well as all of these instruments, and the downtown area, and the stadium, but it all comes back to that. That's when you realize this is really bad. That's what got the attention, you know, unfortunately, I think maybe even above personal loss, because floods happen, like I said, but when you have this happen, as well as all of these people are displaced, which is really the tragedy, to me, is the people that lost their homes and some lives. I mean, that's why it took them a while, but I think they came around. I mean, from what I saw, it started to be the news. It started to be on CNN. It was, you know, I did a thing for NBC Nightly News and did, and was it NBC? No,
Yes,
yeah,
it
yeah.
was.
And ABC World.
And ABC World News Tonight and CNN. So we're, you know, that's just me. I'm sure they did other stuff with other people. So we're talking about the fact that they all started to rally, and you know, and they came around. I mean, I'm not going to hold it against them that it took them a little bit. You know, in that sense, it's just that's the nature of things. I mean, when you got you know, a major sports figure convicted of rape, I mean, who could blame them? I'm kidding, obviously. I'm joking, of course. I mean, you know, it's kind of ridiculous, actually, what is on the news most of the time. But that is the world we live in, and it just took them a little while to understand what was important to him.
After losing so much, tonight you gave $100,000, and you see so many Nashville residents doing the same thing. They've lost so much, and yet they're giving so much. Can you talk a little bit about just that spirit that's here in Nashville?
Yeah, I think that another thing that I was talking about, and the thing that I wrote, was that you're seeing, in a way that you can only see in devastation and tragedy, the true character of a city and its wonderful people. We're talking about a place that that has had it pretty good. It's been in a bubble. I mean, even real estate hasn't been hit as badly here as it has other places. And businesses are certainly hurting like they are most places in the middle of this recession. But Nashville, you know, people are still buying cars and they're still doing what they do. And all of a sudden, we're forced to rise up, you know, and do what we're doing. And there's two ways that people can deal with it. They can deal with it with class, honor, all that, really be helpful, volunteer, do all that stuff, donate, or it can become a disaster area. And this place has been such an inspiration. We're talking about people who, you know, one church sent out a Twitter that they'd need volunteers, I think, on the Tuesday after, to help tear out people's first floors. They had 1,000 people show up in Bellevue from one church. I mean, you know, that's the kind of things you're hearing about. And as well as, you know, I just answered phones for a little bit, which is, you know, I'm sure I screwed every one of those up. You know, the lady said, I've been out of work for 13 months. I come to Nashville every year. I couldn't come this year, but I want to give some of the money I would have spent on vacation there, since I can't come anyway. And she donated like $50. So I mean, it's pretty neat. This town, especially though, within it, we have great people, and you're seeing that in a way that you only see it in these times. And it's one thing to say, hey, I think we're great people, but it's another thing to show it.
One more question.
With some of the losses that you've had, will this affect your touring?
No, you know what? Well, it will. I mean, in the way we, the way we count our blessings and say our prayers every night. But my guys, our miracle workers, they pulled it together. We have found, we had 60% of our video wall destroyed in this. We had our entire set underwater. Most of it's aluminum, but all the carpet and plywood had to be torn up and replaced. They had it ready to rehearse Wednesday. We've been rehearsing since then. I came from there today. It's going tomorrow to Virginia Beach for 3 days to practice, and Friday we do it. And luckily all of the video content was saved. We didn't lose any of the stuff they'd been working on with editing, the stuff that's really irreplaceable. And my video guy, Scott Scoble, who owns Move TV, who lost almost everything in his business, has managed to wrangle up from other areas of America and from other vendors all of the video content stuff that we need. And what we do on Friday will be 99% of what it would have been. I mean, no one would know the difference. And it's, I've never been this close to my crew. We were always close before, but we've been through it now. And there'll be no complaining about the fact, you know, whether or not they filled the rider and took out all the blue M&Ms at this tour. 'Cause, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, well, our catering wasn't any good tonight. Well, so what? Yeah, I'm not even going there, because if we can do a show the way we want to do it, that's something I learned is, it's just, there's too many things to be thankful for, really. Yeah,
Thank you.
I
That
cut you
was
off once.
actually it.
That was it.
That was the question.
Fantastic.
Thank you, Brad.
God bless you guys. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.